The Crown Office has no record of this use ever being searched. We figure that one out, right? On the interview tapes which they destroyed, right, they're questioning me about Princess Diana's jewellery. I found a letter with Princess Diana up in Oban. They might have been looking for that. Very few people are let in here, you know.
Aye.
And to me, the legal system's a bunch of crooks. Because they're trying to figure out, how's this wee guy from East End met the Queen? You get me?
Aye.
Princess Diana. This wee door opened and in walked the Queen. Now Alex Salmon tried to get me sectioned under the Mental Health Act to shut me up. I got told through somebody through the digger that some guy was paid £250 cash for the legal search of this house, but I can't prove that. I'm speeding across the motor with a gun in my back of my head, right?
So welcome back to the channel. Today I'm outside what might be the most famous house in the whole of Glasgow. So if you're from Glasgow, or if you lived in Glasgow, then you almost definitely know the house that's behind me right now. In 2002, Jim was falsely accused of stealing jewels belonging to a member of the royal family. Jim's house, or JID as he's known, was subsequently raided by Police Scotland, at the time was Strathclyde Police, and that raid had a devastating effect on JID's life, with the case of the stolen jewels still remaining a mystery. So let's go in and hear that from JID himself. Let's go in. Hey JID, I don't know how do you get into your house? For the side? Aye, I'm just at the gate, aye. Up the steps? Right, no worries. Right. This way? right, I'll see you just now. Cheers. Right, cheers. How you doing, boss? You alright?
This is actually the front of the house here.
Oh, really?
Aye, years ago.
Alright.
There used to be a staircase here. That's how
Oh,
you
really?
get the big overhang here, right?
Aye.
And you see that mark there? That used to be the door, how you went into the house.
Oh, really?
That's the old steps there, see them?
Ah, aye, I see it now, aye.
Come under there, I use
Aye.
them for the foundation. Go on,
Aye.
go left there, mate.
Aye, anyway, nice to meet you, aye.
Ah, lovely, mate.
Aye, nice to meet you, aye.
You'll get an education by you.
Aye.
Well, young people, go right there, mate. Well, hold on a minute.
Just
I'll
up
show
here,
you the
aye?
gallery first, then I'll show you.
Alright, aye, I'm
You
coming.
want to know everything to the start, don't you?
Aye.
Right, just watch this there. That's all my stuff for the bars here, all these paintings here.
Right, okay.
In the bars, you would see the VGID. That's
Oh,
me
aye.
with the saxophone there, and that's me and the drums up there. That was my
Alright.
sense of humour, you know.
Aye.
This is not the Glasgow School of Art, you know. This was come in here and I'll show you around. This is me at the bars here, right?
Aye.
And that's when they raided my house. That was the front page. That's the way they left the house. When they raided the house, looking for these so-called crown jewels, you know.
Aye.
I really don't know why. It might have been jealousy, because they used to use Mark on a lot of films like Taggart and all that, and Train
Aye.
Spotting years ago, you know.
Yep.
But these were all the ones I had at the bars years ago.
Aye.
I used to open up this and let the students put their art in here.
Aye.
But a lot of them were plugging their phones in and all that, but they
Aye.
asked me and stuff like that. You know.
Aye, aye.
That belonged to Peter Sellers, that painting there.
Alright, aye.
I got that out of Swan London. These are ones I done years ago, like, you know.
Aye, these are quality,
I
aye.
made my own house, you know.
Cracking.
But come upstairs and I'll show you this. What's that big boy? That boy was murdered with a policeman and nailed on his head. Brown, was it? I think it's even brown, man.
Not sure.
That's the painting that was in that, the Princess of All the Fall guy.
I recognise that one, aye.
Did you watch the Gyro Productions? Did you watch it?
Aye, aye.
Well, that painting was in that film, you know.
Alright.
See, he made £50,000 off of my story,
Aye.
but I don't mind somebody come up and having a look, which I did. I chased a guy away the other day, an African guy, wanted to come in.
Alright.
He had a false Scottish Power jacket on, you know.
Aye.
I come in, I said, I don't allow people in. Watch that step there, Raymond.
Right.
This is my studio here with all the damage that's done it. All these paintings are angry paintings, by the way. That's Deborah Harris' coat, you know, Blondie.
Blondie, aye, aye.
That's her coat, she left it in my studio.
How did you come to that?
Well,
So you just
yeah.
left it there, aye?
Well, when I had the studio in the West End, Deborah Harry's her name.
Aye.
Her autograph's in here somewhere. Nancy's got her autograph of my girlfriend, you know.
Aye.
That's all there. She put her autograph on that. That was one of her. By the way, see her. She's the boss. Tell me, she's really got him under her thumb. Her name's Deborah Harry, aye, but
Deborah Harry, aye.
she's a New Yorker. But what happened? She came to my studio in the 80s and she left that hanging over the thing there.
Yep.
But she'd a flat out at Queen Margaret Drive, you know. So I went like that. I took it to her and her lead guitarist opened the door and he went. I didn't have a coat with me. I said, she's left her coat in my studio. He said she was back in New York. I said, JD, just keep it. So I put it on these. That's
interesting.
Temple's Carpet Factory.
Oh, aye.
See that tap window in the wee building at the back? That was my ma's house, and the bottom one left was my dad. They were separated.
Aye.
My dad come back after the war and he wasn't right. He was f***ing shell shocked and he seen his best pal getting his sheet blown off. It's all, I collect robots, they're all in there, it's all robots and paintings and robots. That's what they're trying to do to us, they're trying to robotise us. These are the cars, that's the car out of the Jimmy Boyle film there.
Alright.
And that's Nancy, my girlfriend, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's my mate, Lou Foley, he was one of the Queen's Guards at Windsor. He had two lines. Former Queen's lifeguard. I ran about with him in the 70s, like, you know. But see the car in the French Connection film?
Aye.
Where is it? I don't know where it's went to. There's a photo of me sitting on the cars in that film, like, you know. I used to drive his Cadillac. There's one there, and me sitting on one there, see it? No, here, that one there.
There you go, aye.
Would
that say with my
that's me years ago when I did the old banger here, you know. There is no Arthur Daly, by the way. What happened in London? I opened up. You could buy a motor for a tenner. A lot of people don't believe you. There's a photo in there. No, I used to have roadrunner cars and wheels. That was me there.
Oh, there you go, aye.
London there, you know. But the thing is, what happened was you could buy a motor for a tenner, and I went to the market, right?
Aye.
And I said, surely somebody gave 15 quid for that. So what happened was, I stuck it in a spare ground in Clapham.
Aye.
That's in London, you know. Sold the same day. So I ended up with about 30 cars and I put a wee caravan on it. And I used to wear the trilby and the velvet collar and that jacket. And what happened was the TV mod came along and they stole my idea. They made Arthur Daly out of my life story.
Alright, aye.
But what happened was, this big Bentley drew up and the tinted window went down and the guy went like that. Who are all these old cars? And I went, there's mines, mate, they're mines. And he went, this is my land. He said, there shouldn't be any cars. I said, look, you're not a reasonable guy. I think you can maybe rent a place there. Ronnie Crave in it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I'm like, I'm hitting him the show. You look a reasonable guy.
Aye.
I ended up renting a half.
I don't think you'd get a motor for 15 quid these days.
No. Well, see that one there? Wait, I'll show you. I drove a Lotus and a Ferrari when I was your age, right? But what happened, you couldn't do what I'd done because it's a different world altogether now. They're trying to make everything electric. Did you see the bank fee up in the wall?
Aye.
That's it. I'm surprised. There's somebody with Deborah Harry's coat on. I'm surprised 3,000 people have looked at it since yesterday.
Aye.
On that TikTok, I've just started going on that. That's my man's grave there. That's an lassie with Deborah Harry's coat on. There's my first bit of graffiti there. That's Mark McGinn's book, see it?
Aye.
J.D. Tongs, your bass. Right, see that there? That's me getting into the Whiskey Google Club with Arthur Thompson, right? £7 I paid for that Cortina there, that Mark 1 Cortina. That's my Lotus there.
Yep.
That's a Lotus. I smashed that up. I wrote it half coming back with wee jinkies. Jimmy Donson, the football players club.
Aye.
But that's me going into the whiskey, and there was no CCTV or nothing. That was a guy that came in just like you.
Aye.
And took photos in the bars. He's a photographer called Stanley Riley from Edinburgh.
Aye.
And what he done was he gave me a copy. I couldn't believe that was the very last page in his book.
Aye.
His book's there. Wait a minute, I'll show you. Somewhere. I should have dug that out. Oh, wait, here it is here. He's took photos of everybody. Mick Jagger there, Omar Sharif. All the ones for the 60s. That's my ma's friend, by the way. My sister, that's her there, where is she? She's a singer. There's a photo of her somewhere. There it's there in the middle, I've seen it on the window, the thing there. That's her LP. John Lennon or it. He goes to parties with Elton John and all that. There wee Barbara Windsor. I met her on her. And Mike Reid. But look at that. That's him there, the photographer. I couldn't believe that.
That's you,
That's me, and that's you can just see my bebop. I used to be a bebop haircut. £7 I paid for that. I'm talking about then. But see, the cops didn't like me for the simple reason I was getting people out to work. My girl bought him not laugh me, but how the did I know he was a gangster? People would just come in and give me a name. You get me? And I was just selling them on the motor, you know. I was working for a guy called, believe it or not, Jim Donnelly, same name as myself. He dealt in cars, you know. That's me and Lou Foley, the Lion Man, and that Cadillac, you know.
Alright.
That's him with the lines, and that's where Eileen is. It was me that taught her to sing, you know. If you see any of the clips, you'll see how I sing. Basically, what happened here was, I don't know how they searched the house, right? I found a letter with Princess Diana up in Oban. They might have been looking for that. And then I thought it was jealousy. But see, in 1968, they brought out a mob called the Untouchables, cops to fight the gangs, right? And they knew I was involved with the Tongs. It was me that named the Tongs. That's Mark McGinn's book. Did I show you that?
You showed me the picture,
With J.D. Tongs about. Back the book's lying there, and I'll wait and I'll show you. Me and Toe Elliott, we went to the pictures and we seen a film called Together the Tongs. And what I done was I said that'd be a good name for the mob, and it stuck. But I didn't really run about with them all the time, like, because I didn't like some of the things they were getting up to. You know what I mean? In the days, it wasn't my scene. I was the first one to do that. By the way, put the cone in the head, 1968. That's Family Guy. I was the very first one to do that. I jumped off my Lotus one night, kidding my girlfriend on the run up top of this. Parliament, he doesn't help them, you know.
Billy Connolly, the big one.
I've known him for years, by the way.
What was he? He wasn't for the Carlton?
No, he comes from Drumshire. Well, he stayed in Partick. Originally, that's where he came from. But they moved him out to Drumshire. How I met him in that painting there. I used to have a reserved seat in the Connoisseur at Gibson Street. Do you know it? Well, see him. He was sitting on the table, Raymond. When I walked in, it was all his entourage and BBC punters that joined all the tables, and we didn't have a reserved seat. So I kicked up with Mr. Singh. Oh, okay, G, I give you a free meal and that. He said, Mr. Corley's on. I says, this is mater. I says, I know he's a big shot and all that. See, when I seen him, I went, that's the last supper. And I painted that painting. One of his pals bought it. I sold it to him for $4,000.
Oh, do?
You know what I mean?
There you go.
Right, there a wee print. I'll give you a wee print and I'll sign that for you, right? You can
Nice,
that, right?
Right, okay, I'll take that away.
That's me painting Madonna years ago. See that?
Well, there you go,
But, mind me to sign that.
Well, I'll stick this here, JD.
Well, later there, mate.
Stick this here,
Right, if you want to sit there, I'll chat to you if you hear. That was the lassie she was doing. I think she works for the BBC. She's a journalist, you know. She's selling them at the bar, isn't it? And I says, it was fucking me that named that. She knows me, like, you know. She said, you're kidding me on, Jay. I said, I'm not kidding you on. I said, me and Toilet, we went to the picture hall, the Olympia at Bridgestone. And that was the middle film, Terror of the Tongs. I named the mob after that and stuff, you know. But there was a lot of them in there I didn't like, a lot of the lace and the tongues, you know what I mean? But the thing is...
That's what they're known for, wasn't it?
I was battling me because I didn't like the things that they were going up to, if you know what I mean, you know. My name's James Donnelly, born, right? But in the Carlton, I've had a lot of nicknames over the years, right? I used to be Squinty because I was a wee turnmy, right? And then it was Don the Con when I got my boss, so... And then it was Cliff because I used to sing all the Cliff Richard songs. I can sing good, baby. I always anything Sinatra, I could take after a lot of them, right? Over the years, my first run in with the cops, right? I was sitting up my cousin Johnny Robertson's garage, and that photo I showed you, just the end of the street. I'm sitting up in the 10 feet wall, and a cop come along, and a big Irish, they brought in the big heavy shooters to fight the gangs in the days, the Combi and the Tongs. That was Jimmy Boyle's mob, you know. What happened is I'm sitting up in the wall, short trousers, 10 years of age. This cop come like, down half that wall. I says, it's my cousin's got get down half a fucking wall, he says, you know. So I jumped down and he went, come here you anyway. I panicked and I ran because the police, he was frightened of the police, right? So what he done was he threw his baton and it hit me in the legs and I skidded on my chin, my elbow and my foot, my two knees, right? And they were all bleeding. My dad went into the house and what the fuck happened to you? My dad says, I said, the police helped me with it. So my mum took me round to Tobago Street and the desk sergeant said, I'll see him when he comes in. But never heard anything else about it. That was it, you know.
Aye. This was obviously, you were staying in the Calton.
I've been a site in the Calton, aye.
Aye.
But I was staying Green Street at Baldon.
Aye,
but what happened, they had a bad fight in 1960. My ma side in the tap, my dad side in the bottom. But what I didn't realise, he come back for the war, and he come back for the war a different person. I says to my mum, my dad always thought this, she says no. But what I didn't realise, he'd seen his best pal get his head blown off, and he was 3 years a prisoner of war at Benghazi. But all the trouble is, I knew it always starts in the Middle East. It's all about money and oil anyway, and it's religion, you know. I followed my mum down to London. She was working on the Mars Bar Sweetie factory. Her friend, Will McGreer, who married this English guy down there, he was well connected, so they got me a job at the Kennels at near Pinewood Film Studios.
So what age were you then when you went down there?
I was only about 15.
15?
I used to go up to the fair from Hattie Jakes and Barbara Windsor, Sidney James. They would all hang about. My wages were only £2 a week. Sidney James gave me a 10-shilling note. That was mega bucks money.
Aye.
He had a wee Scotch Terrier. I used to do Lord Astor's Great Danes and the Queen's Corgis. That was Christine Keeler's poodle. But that was a big thing in 1960. The Perfumo affair. You ever heard of that?
No.
Mandy Race Davis and Christine Keeler.
Right, okay.
They were sleeping, two hookers were sleeping with a Russian agent, and it was all front page news at the time. I got a job in the kennels, and one time I went over to Eton. We delivered the 2 dogs into the castle. I said to Alec, I'm going to take a walk over to Eton. It was lunch hour, you know, okay, Jock, they called you Jock, you know. So I went over, there's a pub called the Queen's Arms there, Raymond Wright, and right next door to it is Eton College. So I'm looking in the spangle window, and there's 2 inside playing pool. The English pool with the pegs in the table. I think it's called billiards, I'm not sure. And they've got the long tails with the wee dicky bow with the turned up shot. So the 2 of them come outside, a wee short one and a taller one. And I went like, it was a lovely day like today. I went like pointing at Eton College gate, the big massive gates, you know. I said, what do they teach you in there? And the taller one went, the teacher's right as a man, I'm taking one to all class and keeping them down. I went, is that right? I felt like cracking the jaw. Do you know who that is now? Dominic Raab. And we shot him as well, Boris. Google this if you don't believe me, Raymond, right? Stanley Johnson, Boris Johnson, Dad wrote a book 40 years ago. What do you think the book was called?
You tell me.
Virus.
The Virus. Right, okay.
Made millions off of selling plastic mass theory mugs. I went to Sturgeon's House there 16 weeks ago when the cops were searching it, and the police wouldn't take a letter off me because they know I can bring them all down. Because they're trying to figure out who's this wee guy from East End met the Queen. You get me? Princess Diana. I met her through Lou, you know, the line man, you know. How I met the Queen, I went back down there when I was 19 and I was scaffolding. And we were doing a job in St George's Cabaret where Harry and Meghan were married, right? I was doing my granny horn in the tubes up, and all it was a bit of paint, it was flaking up the roof, and they needed an inner scaffolding. And I was looking at these 2 big coffins like that, you know. This wee door opened and in walked the Queen. She was telling me, that's Albert and that's Victoria. You know, she was telling me the story of who was in. That was how I met the Queen the second time, you know. But the first time I sold a motorbike and I drove all the way down to dig the Queen up, and I got behind the castle where guards, 3 mounted household cavalry, and they took me into there's a wee house at the beginning of the castle, and they stuck me in there, and then the cops took me away. But I was only 14 and a half at the time, you know. I'm shouting, hey Queen, I want to have a word with you. Cheeky bastard. She knew I was young, by the way. The Duke and the Queen just ignored me. But that's they were out on a trip I can't mind the name of it. Windsor Great Park, I think it's called. But do you know how I get wise to these people, right? Miss Fine says to me, Jock, they always called you Jock, with butlers and maids in the days. Take the Great Danes up to Clevedon House, that's where the Perfumo affair was, right? You'll need to Google that, right? That's where they used to make the Hammer House of horror films. And all the trees growing like that, like a tunnel. And I used to shite myself, see if you light a light, there's millions of bats. And that's how they made the films there, because it's a creepy looking place. I'm taking coming back from Lord and Lady Astor's estate with the dogs. The butler took them off me, right? And I'm walking down there, I'm actually shiting myself because I thought Dracula was real nowadays. I used to watch him with Christopher Lee with Big Hoover blowing the cape back, you know, when done his Dracula and the 6 white horses and all that, you know. Me at 14, just turning 15, I thought this was fucking real, and I used to jump out the road, there's Dracula going by and all that, you know what I mean? But what happens, I sees this light going down, It's a narrow road. The Spitfire pilots told me the reason it's like a tunnel jock is the years of the gypsies going through with their bow-top caravans. It made a tunnel. That's made sense to me.
Aye.
Over the centuries, you know.
Yep.
This motorbike draws round and it goes like that, round the back of me. And as he turned, I seen a skull and crossbones on the back. It said Windsor chapter. That's, I met Mick Jagger once, right? But that's who he uses for his security.
Right, okay.
That's a motorbike mob for Windsor. So in the 60s you didn't need a helmet, Raymond, right? And he jumps off the bike and pulls up in the stand. It was a big knot that said on the tank. And he went like to me, "What are you doing here?" And I went, "They big side locks don't go with that voice." And I was kind of cheeky when I was young. I said, "What business are yours? This is a private road." I said, "I know. How?" I said, "I work here." "Where?" "In the kennels." "What's the person doing?" "Miss Fine." Jumped on his bike and rode away. So I used to go up to the fairs and love talking to all the old Spitfire pilots because they gave you an education, right? The big moustaches, like, you know. I said, "Marie," she's one of Lord and Lady Astor's maids. I said, "Marie, come here. "Aye, what is it, Joe?" I said, "Come here a minute." I said, "Listen, I was coming back from Lord Astor's estate the other night there after I delivered the 2 dogs. And it says a guy in a motorbike pulled me up. He had a Marlon Brando hat with chains on it." And he went, "Jock, that's Ted. Do you know he carries a gun?" I went, "What?" She said, "Aye, he's a local MI5 guy. He drives around there all night protecting him." But what I didn't realise, Harold McMillan was the next big estate up for Clevedon House. So he drives around there all night protecting him by the No, but protected all the time.
Yep.
Look, when I went to Sturgeon's house there, now you can't tell me the cops are not working with Sturgeon. When the world media's there, I'm not looking for money by a serious stories by the way. All I'm looking for is justice. Raymond, see the people that stopped at my gate, it's unbelievable.
Aye.
They've lost their houses with bent, crooked lawyers.
Yep.
A young boy for that new estate up there, they cracked in his door. He's a joiner, the joiner's van. It was a rank house. The wife ran upstairs with a newborn baby. What did the last cop say? "Oh, you see you're a joiner, pal, we'll be able to fix your in." That's pure cheek by the way, come for a cop, you know.
Aye.
But that's what I thought about I know how they searched the house. I'm awful good in court by the way. I can do my own defence lawyer, you know. So what happened was, even though I'm quite bad at counting and stuff like that, right? But I'm quite sharp at other things, if you know what I mean, you know, especially art, like, you know. In 1968, when I drove a Lotus, I used to go to the Savoy, right? I was just opened at the time, you know, and I used to park my motor in the back lane of Sucker Street Lane, and I used to take the rotoram. You know what a rotoram is?
Aye.
Disabled the engine,
Aye.
so nobody could steal it,
Yep.
right? But I'll tell you a laugh about Billy Conlon. I mean, somebody stole my 1300 GT. That's a different story altogether. Anyway, what happened was, in the 80s, I had the repair business. I used to have keys for a Mercedes, or a Aero, a Fiat, a Rover, all the different. Because one of my workers was taking the motors away and joyriding, and the punter was saying to me, "JD, I put that motor in here with a 10 gallon of petrol and it's empty, you get me?"
Aye.
So that's how I started carrying the keys with me.
Aye.
I was coming out to the dancing, right, and this young guy went, "Hey, JD, what are you driving tonight?" There was a white E-Type lying there, and I was kidding him out. And he touched it in the laminate. So all these guys jumped and tapped him. So I went there and started fighting, pulling them off again. It was the Untouchables, that was the mob we wrote, and they ran about in a Calmer van to bust the gangs, like the tongs of the combi, right? I got one of my teeth kicked out and smashed I just started wearing glasses in there, smashed my glasses. They threw me in the van. The guy got away the young guy got away. They took me down to St Andrews, shut down the police station down at near Glasgow Cross. They're taking all my stuff out of my pockets, and they went like with the keys and I put them on the counter. They called it the bar by the way, and I put them on the back. And they went, "Oh, you're some car thief, you. Mercedes, Rovers, Austins, Cambridge, Reynolds."
Aye.
I mean like that. The scene nowadays, Raymond, everything had to be signed in pen and ink. There was no computers, right?
Aye.
"Oh, you've even got a fucking rotor." He's like that to other cop. This guy's a real professional here, boy. So see after they signed everything in, I said, "You better go and pick my Lotus up. It's lying in Bath Lane up his Bath Street." "Oh, his fucking face, man." I bet it's rid of that teddy bear there.
Aye. Was that the first time you met them was when you were 10, or was that just
The
a cop?
police, oh, they never liked it. See, I sold Kehoe a motor, right?
Aye.
But how do I know he's a gangster?
Yep.
People would just give me a name. But I'll tell you how they didn't like me. I drove a Granada coupe. Do you know what that is? That's a
Heard of
sports
Granada, aye, but
powerful motor.
Aye.
And I had a Ford Mustang and I had a Dodge Charger. You see the photos there of the Dodge Charger, right? I was a bit of a jack lad, a bit of a flash guy when I was young, but I always looked after ordinary people. I'm no way, I was the one for myself, if you know what I mean.
Aye.
But what happened, that's what I'm doing now, I'm fighting for the people, but a lot of people don't realise that, by the way, you know.
Aye.
People think I'm making money off this, I'm not made one penny, that's my hand to God, by the way. I was driving along Shelton Road one day, and I was taking Mexican whiskey, my two Dobermans. That's me, there's a photo of me there, with them.
Alright.
Max, they're long gone now. That's a painting of Max there, where is it?
When was that?
That's 80. See that painting? That's a painting of Max there. Up there, right.
Alright.
And that's one of Princess, she died recently, that's her at Hogganfield Loch. She loved swimming with the swans. There was two cops walking along the road, right? I seen them turn around like that and heard the dogs barking. They were only excited because they were going up to Oak Rose Park. I thought, I've seen it. Try to stop me there. I seen his horn go up. So I drove up to the cottage, you know, where the two boys were found murdered in that motor, right? A wee Escort Panda rammed in front of me. Went out the car. I said, what's the problem? You're the problem, not the car. They said I overtook a taxi in the middle of the zebra crossing, which I didn't. So in court anyway, there's two police against me, right? That's the ones that were walking along the road, right? They charged me with overtaking this taxi anyway. But a week later, I'm in getting a car wash at Sorry Street. That was Sorry Street cars, right? What happened in the days, the first car he had was Risk Street Motors. They used to say, you take a risky wee buy motor after that. Now, this is that didn't like you, jealousy.
Yep.
And the other one was Sorby Street cars. They called that Sorry Street. Sorry Street cars.
What age would you have been then? Like,
Yeah, probably about 29. In court, the first witness came in. He said to the sheriff, when I seen Mr. Donnelly, he was doing about 65 mile an hour, going along Shelton Road. So the sheriff went, would you like to question it? I said, at what point did you see me? And he wasn't even looking at me, he was still looking up at the sheriff. When I seen Mr. Donnelly, he was doing about 65 mile an hour. Oh, and he went over the zigzag lines in the middle of the road, on the zigzag at the zebra crossing. That was it. Anything else? I said, no, nothing else. So the next witness came up, he had the exact same thing written down in his book, right, as the first witness, right? So the second police witness, I said, at what point, the sheriff said, you want to question this? He says, what point did you see me overtaking this so-called... he was looking at me, he wasn't even looking at me. He said, when I seen Mr. Donnelly, he was near up on the pavement, he was the sheriff went, there you go, Mr. Donnelly. One said I went to the right, another one said I went to the left. Line. I'm honest to God, right? So they didn't like me for that, right? But a week later I was in the car wash, washing my Granada coupe. This taxi driver, Frank, came in, I can't remember his secretary. He said, J.D., I seen the cops following you the other day, they're going to Shelton Road. I said, I know. He said, I was right behind. I said, Frank, any chance of going to witnesses before I went to go? He said, J.D., I can't. He says, you know what like it is, they'll hassle me, you know. Right, this is a classic, right? That'll give people a laugh, but it's true. Risk Street Motors in Sorry Street. Well, Sorry Street, it wasn't my money, it was a pal of mine that had the garage, right? And I used to sell the cars.
So I just wanted to interrupt the video for just a second to say thank you very much for watching this video. It took me an unbelievable amount of time to actually edit this video, and it's the longest video that I've ever put out. So if you like it, please let me know. If you like these longer style videos, I've actually got quite a few hours worth of footage at JD's house, so there'll be a second video to this that will follow up in a couple of weeks' time, just explaining more about JD's life and some of his stories. So as I say, if you like that, you want to see more, click subscribe. Let's get back to the video.
This taxi drew up one day. It was a 4x4 taxi diesel, you know. This guy jumped to it. He was 6'6" and he had a tartan lumberjacket on and a beige cowboy hat. And he went like, I'm looking for JD. And I went like, what is that kind of Jewish? I mean, that's me, what is it? He said, you've been highly recommended down at the old taxi rank at the central station. I'm looking for an old bank to get me round Glasgow for the week to visit relatives. I've just got the motor for you. It was a 1600E Cortina. There was a lunch tax on it. 75 quid, by the way. She knew. There's one went for 18 grand on bangers and cash. I'm not kidding you. Aye. The same motor. But somebody had hand painted it black, right? So I took him down along here by Lilybank and onto the London Road and along by the 101 along there. And back up Helen Vale Street. And we just get into Sorry Street and a car crashed up in the pavement in front of us and another one. And I'm pulled out of the motor, right? And I seen the cowboy hat flying over the top of the motor, right? I'm speeding across the motor with a gun in my back of my head, right? And the big cowboy guy, he's lying on the back of the motor, right? It was a serious crime squad. What happened was somebody robbed that. See with the 101 that used to be a post office? Aye. Somebody robbed it with a black motor, right? Armed. Right, and they thought that so see by the time I explained to the cops and that what had happened, I was just taking the big guy leaves. I'll never forget it. God, I'm happy, JD. I come from Chicago. Fucking Al Capone, Miss Burnley. I've never even seen a gun. They said I'm fucking 5 minutes in Glasgow. That's good, you met me.
That's funny. So what happened then? So you were about 29 then, roughly about that time.
Yeah, around about that time.
Aye. So between you going down to London when you were about 15.
I done a post office in Derby, right?
Aye.
And I got jail. I ended up doing fucking 3 years, but I escaped. I ended up fucking. It's too long a story, man. I was heading for the Lou Foley's. That's the guy with the lines, right?
Yep.
But what happened was I didn't know Lou had lines. With me being in the clink, right? I used to drive his Cadillac. That's the same car that's in the French Connection film, the Lincoln Continental. The number is Lou 13. That was his private number on it, right? How I got to thing with Lou, I sold him. Have you ever seen Mrs. Doubtfire? See the car that they used at the end of Mrs. Doubtfire? I sold him the Ford Falcon. It's that same car. And they cut a hole in the roof and put a cage in it for Lado the Line. And I used to drive Lado the Line around Birmingham and London and that, with roaring at Cedar. This is, people don't believe it because they don't go out to see it. You're stuck up in the scheme, mate. You know what I mean? Right, me and Arthur went down to London. That photo I showed you going into the Whiskey Google Club, right? How I met Lou was with that Ford Falcon. Lou hadn't bought the lines yet, but he must have had all this planned in mind, right, to turn this into, because it was a big American straight car, right, for the line. He was a pure out and out eccentric. Yeah. I'm in this big disco, and I says to Arthur, come on, Arthur Thompson, no the gangster Arthur Thompson, just a pal of mine with the same name, right? I says, Arthur, man, I'm knackered, I don't want to sleep in the motor, man. And we used to take motors up and down to London because you get better money for motors down than you did up here, right? And this big guy went, oh, Mike, I'll fix you up for the night. He had billets up behind his house, and he said, if I'm never no in, come up and just jump out of the gate and you can sleep in the billet, right? When I escaped from the jail, right, I headed for Lou's, right?
This was Derby jail?
This is in Birmingham. What happened was...
when was that? What age were you in?
Oh, I must have been my 30s.
Aye.
The guy that wrote the story here said... They said I was an encyclopedia salesman, right? Saw the flag on the door saying beware of the lines, which I did see. They thought it was a joke, right? The line went for him, but it escaped under the arc of ticketed lorry, and so the line couldn't get to him. That was me. I jumped to on the big fucking Lado, the line jumped on top of me. See Lado didn't have any teeth.
Aye.
Right? He bought one called Sheba, and what had happened was, he was a right character. He used to let it out, he let it out in the moors and it found this mentally ill woman and all that, and he's standing there with a big light. He was aiming to get a bit of publicity his face. That's the type of guy he was, but he was a total eccentric, you know. What had happened was, I got a phone call, it was a big giant phones in the days. And I was on the trot for the jail, right? I think it was Arthur. He says, Jay, he says, that fucking idiot's let that line out. This was Gypsy John, one of his workers, right? He's let that fucking line out up at Dudley Zoo, that's just outside Birmingham, right? So I gets up there and all the bobbies are there with the, you know, the hats up there, the bobby hats, right? So they've got a big giant torch and it's just getting dusk and the line's in the corner, right? And I'm like pushing every the road. I thought it was a lad with the no teeth, right? I'm like, watch out the road and that. But this is all on the BBC 6 o'clock news. I didn't realise they were filming this, right? Aye. And I'm on the run for the nick. So mad Frankie Fraser, he's in Leicester. There's jock on the telly there. You've heard of Frankie Fraser, haven't you? Right. So they're all the cons are watching me on the TV, right? The next thing, the line starts to move to the side and then it sits down. Have you ever seen that film, the old films, Metro Gods and Major, where you see the big lion roaring the big teeth? Yep. It's a f***ing ragging lion, he said. See all the cops say, oh, that's so they were watching all this in the telly, like, you know. But I didn't know Lou had bought this line, because I was sitting up in Birmingham Nick. Aye. I worked in Jobs with him in Derby, and we used to blow chimneys down. We see Fred Dibner. Have you heard of Fred Dibner? No. That's the old guy that blows all the chimneys down. He introduced me to him, you know. You met Diana as well? I met Diana through Lou. Through Lou? Aye. Lou, I can't really tell you, but I think he was having a bit of a... Before Harry's day, she said to Lou, this is true by the way, right? She says to Lou that she feared for her life under Charles. Now, imagine a person in her grade saying that to a household cavalry officer who was a friend to her, right? If you look at that there, the meeting with Lou in the Lincoln Continental, right? And I was sitting with his dog Rastus. So he says, this is in Windsor Great Park behind Windsor Castle, right? He says, Jay, take the dog out. So I took Rastus, that was his pit bull. If you look at here, wait a minute, I'll show you. That's me when I escaped, right? This is Smith. This is a Birmingham paper writer. This is how he met Diana in the car, right? Former Queen's lifeguard Lou was more well known for recently setting up a refuge for vulnerable people in Cradle Heath High Street under the banner of Princess Diana's Refuge, house number 1. He had to get her permission. You get me?
Yep.
And he opened up that. It was for drug addicts and people were down and out on the luck and that, you know.
Yep.
He was a total out and out people's guy. Never met a guy like him in my life, honestly. The only guy I have met like him is a gangster. He writes, he's a pal of mine. He writes books about, funny enough, they're my first bit of guy for you there.
Oh, there you go. So that's you there, JD Carlton Tongs.
What's that? That's Mark McGinn. This is James Crosby. They called him Bing and Peter Head. That's a painting with Peter Housen.
Aye,
Have you seen Peter Housen?
Aye. Got one in the house.
But Lou knew everybody. I met John Conte. In fact, see big Alec Morrison, the boxing promoter. That's number, I got him at number 100 knockout. He just passed there. See before you come in there.
Aye.
His Jeep just, I looked at on the CCTV there and I seen his Jeep going by. Because you were looking in the gate, you know. But I sold him that number. It's 100 knockout. That belonged to Frank Conte. They had a bad foy. We used to go into a pub on the Old Kent Road, the Thomas a Becket. It was a boxing ring up the stair, you know. And in the days I stayed across from Joe Bugner. He was a British heavyweight champion. That's when I stayed in Maidenhead, you know. Frank and Johnny had a bad foy and Frank went out staring back the Johnny. Johnny was British champion, you know. He stayed around the corner from my sister when she stayed in Liverpool. That's her LP there. Mm. And the manager, Tony West Enterprises, Liverpool. It says it on there. I think it says it on there, wait a minute. Aye, it does, aye, Tony West Entertainments, Liverpool. Yep. There it's there, Liverpool, see it? Mm-hmm. You know. But one thing about me, Raymond, I do 100 in the barbells every morning. Doesn't matter how ill I feel. But I'm 78 now, and I still do that to this day. I still keep myself fit, you know. But know what it is with me? It's the determination to fight these by the way. That's what's in my heart. Yep. And it's not just for myself, by the way. And it's mainly because my lassie fucking killed herself. Because people at Sturgeon, Salmon, McCaskill, all cover up merchants. I've jammed them all into a corner now.
So you had a stall in the bars, aye?
See, I don't really know why they broke into the store. I lost £5 worth of jewellery, right? That was a lot of work, by the way. Years and years going up and down the auction. It was all rings. In fact, all the boxes are in there, behind that painting there. Empty boxes. They never even took the boxes away for DNA and fingerprints, you know what I mean? I think it was the MI5 that broke into my stall. I think they were looking for that letter I found with Princess Diana. How I thought that came about, Raymond, was in the market with a lot of important people, actors and all that came in. That's how I know Bob Obama and Ford Kiernan and all the ones that tune the fat and Still Gaming that. They're all kind of pals of mine, right? Ford Kiernan, he collects watches. This guy came in one day with a big white moustache. And I'm looking at him, I said, I know that guy's face is something, I to be thinking myself, right? So he goes away and his pal came out for me. He was out at Wally's that sells army helmets and bayonets and all that, army memorabilia. So he came out to me now and like that. He says, can I have a look at the army medals? And I said, they're just basic medals, mate. See them through the glass. No, let's have a look at one out. Took one out. King George, he said, don't it? And he put them down. I said, where are you from anyway, mate? He says, we live up Woburn, mate. I said, I was up there the other week with my girlfriend. I bought that fucking art book. It's lying about, I just see that a minute ago. It's lying about there somewhere for 50 pence and a letter fell out of it with Princess Diana. I'm telling him about this fucking letter. See, the following week, my stall was broken into. During the week, by the way, not the weekend. They took all my jewellery. I think that was just as a bluff. I went down to Paddy's Market, Tom Burns that deals in all the gold, and all the Carlton ones I got them. See, if the underworld guys, they took my, I would have found out like that. Like, that was the end of it here. If it was somebody that took the stuff, it must have been somebody who way outside Glasgow. And I think the MI5 took a stance to make it look as though the thing with the stall was broken into, you get me? I went like to Wally after the two of them left the market. I watched them go around the market and go out the door. I said, Wally, this is the guy that does the army. I said, who was that guy with a big moustache? He said, Jimmy, remember the Iran and Edmonton where they slid down the thing, and they shot the guys in the... He said, that was Mad... I think his name was Mad Max or something. He was the SAS man, right?
He was the Max was he was a negotiator that went in before the SAS.
Was he?
Aye.
But he was one of the ones anyway with the big moustache. But he was logging in, hearing me talking about this later with Diana, and that's how my stall got rolling, and you get me, you know?
Mm-hmm. Aye.
But that's how I think that came about. But I don't know, I thought about the Untouchables, it could have been something to do with that. Or be me beating them in court, you know.
After they broke into your stall and that, like, how did the police get for there to, maybe he's got them in his house?
I don't, see, they took me and Nancy down to, they searched Nancy's house and all without a warrant, right? They searched this house without a warrant. The Crown Office have no record of this house ever been searched. We figure that one out, right? They tell me they've no record of it ever been searched. On the interview tapes which they destroyed, right, they're questioning me about Princess Diana's jewellery. Mum's jewellery, sorry, right? I said, I've never fucking seen any jewellery in my life. What happened was, when my stall was broken into, the £5,000 worth of jewellery went missing, and I was in the Brigade asking all the guys that I know at buy and sell stuff. Tam Burns, he used to do the jewellery. I said, if anybody sells you any rings, Tam, give me a shout. Tell my number, right? Give me a buzz, right? And I'll be doing. Somebody's heard me talking about jewellery, and Shan Kid's house was broken into in Oban, you get me?
Yep.
So the cops have got their wires crossed,
yep.
right? They've heard jewellery and they've heard Shan Kid's house. I got told through somebody through the digger that some guy was paid £250 cash for the legal search of his house, but I can't prove that. You get me?
Yeah.
That's just somebody verbal. That's somebody that's giving me verbal word. But in the Brigade in the days, there was a lot of junkies. There used to be a homeless place down at the bottom. I found out later on a drug addict for the Carlton, right? I sent 2 guys down to him, and the guy went, he sent a message back, tell Jai he's got all to do with me. It's not been the local villains. I don't want to mention names, but the ones that used to break into the bars and that, it's not been any of them, like, you know. The thing is, that's how I know it's nobody from here that's done this term. Years later, when I took the writ out and I tried to get them, you can't get a collapse in everything to try and expose it. You can't do it. Went to Sturgeon's house, you can't do it that way, you know. Yep. Every angle that you try, it doesn't matter who you are or what you are, you need to have money like Musk. See some guy, you need somebody like that back you to beat this legal system. Because it's really a legal system that run this country. Now he's having a run in with this idiot here now. Right. Imagine this half-wit here is going up against a guy like this. You see him there, Raymond? You know what he done with me? When he was first canvassing for his SNP, he hired the cancer show in Westmere Street, right? Ham's a useless, I named him that, and that's what he is, he's total bampot, right? So is his lawyer, Anwar Anwar. He said, my case is not the kind of case that he takes on. I went to see every lawyer. 40 lawyers that the Law Society of Scotland gave me, nobody would take this case on. And I can mind me and Nancy in blizzards, going through to Coke Bridge one day, were soaked to the skin with snow, looking to get a lawyer to fight this. Nobody take it on. He was canvassing for his SNP at the beginning. I think it must be about 18 years ago now, right? I went in, he was sitting at the edge of the desk, a secretary and a secretary there, you know. And I said to the secretary, I said, excuse me love, I'd like to see if I can get somebody to help with my house being illegally. The coffee's just a bit ready at that angle, right? To help me with my house being wrongly and illegally searched for Princess Diana's mum's jewels. Coffee went down and he bolted in. Back show. That's God strike me. And that was your First Minister, your ex-First Minister, you know. Another crook like Sturgeon, by the way. They're all the same. You see the cop that came down here, a big called Charlie Henry, right? He's big chief inspector, right? But he's the one, and another guy, I can't mind his name, Robertson or something. They were the ones that were questioning me down on a taped interview, and they destroyed the tapes. They've destroyed all the interview tapes, they've destroyed all the files. And they destroyed later on the damage that I got a photographer to take damage out of the house. See up there, Raymond, I don't know if you can see up in the corner there, look. See up, no, right up in the corner there. Yep. See how they separated the beams there? Yep. They've been lying there 20 odd years now. They started jamming that out. So what I did was I collapsed. I wasn't well, but I collapsed and I had to call the paramedics because I wasn't well. I was just recovering from a hemorrhage. They took me out, my bed used to be here by the way. They took me out my sick bed. Nancy had just left, they went running fucking search in Nancy's house that day and all, you know. Basically that's it, you know. And they never offered to pay for anything that they... They'll not repair the damage. See that? If you look there, see the wires going along there? Yep. And that's the original lights there, look. They don't work now, they're the other ones out there. Aye. The house went on fire, all the wire went on fire with the police damage. Aye. They left all my... And I was in darkness. Come here and I'll show you this. This is how I couldn't accommodate my lassie. See the marks there? Yep. I had 4-inch icicles, see them there? Mm-hmm. Icicles. And the ceiling's down on top of this. Yep. Wait I'll get it and I'll show you. Sorry, Raymond. On you go. Come in here, Raymond. See that there? That's just from it, a couple of bits there. But this is an old house.
Yep.
Now, that's all asbestos, see it? That's what I've been breathing in. That ceiling's still lying down on top of that. That was a couple of guys that done that for me. They come in and they put that. They put that up, that temporarily ceiling. I've not got the £40,000 to do the thing is, the doorman and the pigeon guys fixed the roof for me. They went up, that's my angry painting there now, this is me, justice. I've been working on that for 20 years now. It's just anger to me, that's what I do. I've just, that's the only way I can take my anger out, if you know what I mean, against these people.
Yep.
You'll never beat them, Raymond, honestly God. That's
Aye.
right, every angle, mate. I've wrote to that many people, man, I've contacted that many legal establishments. Let me tell you this, right? The fraud letter. I wrote to do you know what the PIR is? The Police Investigation Review Commissioner, right? The first guy I was dealing with was a guy called Jim Martin. Right, there's a fraud letter there. I'll read this out to you in a minute, right? Letters back for it, letters back for it, letters back for it. This going on for a year or so, right? Then another guy took over, a guy called Professor John McNeil, right? Letters back for it, letter back. Then they're saying my letters are vexatious because I've ran them into a corner with their lies, right? This is a letter, right? This is an Inspector Neil. He came up here in 2003. Listen to dates very carefully, right? And he had a clipboard and he was going with the clipboard, right?
So just to be clear, so everybody knows, 2002 they came here.
Aye.
Then this is, so between 2002...
This is the Inspector O'Neill, right? Kenneth O'Neill, right? This is a copy of the letter, right? The fraud letter.
Yep.
Right, but I'll read it out to you anyway. This is him saying, writing this with his handwriting. To whom it may concern, I wish to withdraw my complaint and allegation. Now listen to these 5 words here. I made in my letter on the 8th of November 2002. What date do you think that was? That was the date of the house search. How could I write this letter during the house search when he came in 2003? Right, you get me? Here it's in the digger, that's wee Sue McCourt. The letter, which was hand-printed by the cop referring to the complaint and allegations I made in my letter on the 8th of November. The 8th of November was the day of the actual raid on Mr. Donnelly's written complaint. Now, see, if you look at that, Raymond, my postal address is G31 4PX, right? I took that to the post office. They said whoever wrote that postal address up doesn't exist. G32 GTX. It sounds like a sports car, doesn't it? Not me. He just made it up. He's trying to copy my signature. I don't sign like that. I sign like that to the side. That's his signature there. Look, Kenny O'Neill, see it? 2003. I made my letter on the 8th of November. It's impossible for me to write a letter because that was the day of the house search. Now, Kate Frame for the PIR, the police, that's Nicola Sturgeon's friend, by the way. Police Investigation Review Commission. I wrote to her last, maybe 18 months ago. I'm not going to answer any more letters back for this case because I've run all into a corner with the fucking lies, right? Now see, the first guy I was dealing with, Jim Martin, I wrote to Alex Salmon, he was the First Minister at the time. I wrote to the three chief councillors I've been through. What they do is a long firm you. They rob a public person, one retires and the other man takes over. You get me? He robs a public person and another one takes over. That's how it works, right? It's called long firming. That's what the gangsters used to do in London, right? I wrote complaining to the Scottish Government. Alex Salmon says to me, through his secretary, she wrote or he wrote, you'll need to contact the Ombudsman. So I did. Guess who the Ombudsman was? Jim Martin, your first police complaints commissioner. How can you beat that? You can't beat it. Know what I mean? So he went from being a complete police complaints commissioner to an ombudsman. So it's all right. It's not right. It's corruption to the highest level. You know what I mean? And I can't expose it because they keep gagging me at every angle of the day. But what they never thought for a minute, I would use my wall as a weapon to let the people know what's going on here. I took a route out against Police Scotland or legally searched here, right? Now it costs you £80 to take a route out, right? So you've got to take it down to the place at Royal Exchange Square and they take it out to the Sheriff Court. £80. I would take it on myself for nothing and put it into the Sheriff Court, but they like taking money off you, right? Now, while I was in the court, I counted 1,800 quid in fines getting paid. But before I went in, the sheriff clerk went and like, Mr. Donnelly, I don't think the sheriff will look at this case. Do you know why? Royal connections. I said, look, me, I paid £80 to take this route out against police illegally searched my house. They pulled every wire. They went up the stair and they came down and said, Mr. Donnelly, the sheriff will see a closed court. I said, what does that mean? No public, no media. And I went, no. Got up the stairs, sent him up again. Came down the third time and he said, Mr. Donnelly, the sheriff will see you, they won't see you in a closed court at all. So I had no option, right? So I had to go up and I went into the court, right? The sheriff came in dead quick, by the way, Raymond. We had a wee secretary thing. Mr. Donnelly, I've looked at your case files and I was really ill that day. I had 3 beef cases, all handwritten. I hadn't learnt the word pad then with all these letters. There's one of the cases there, right? Yep. All these different letters I've wrote to all these different people. There's a load of them up there and I see them. Yep. They're all to law societies and European courts, Supreme Courts, and you name it, I've done it. Prime Minister, the Queen, when she was living and everything, right? I've wrote to. He was continuing as he was talking this case of time bar. I said, hold on a minute, Sheriff. You have made this time bar, see all these thousands of letters? And he just kept ignoring me. So what I done is I killed her the living and I smashed my glasses. I put on that good an act of fool myself. So the paramedics were called and to take me to Royal. There was a guy in a lassie, a big kind of heavy lassie. She went, what was that all about? I said, they wouldn't let the public or the media into to see what was going on in my case. Are you that wee guy in London Road that paints your what? That's unbelievable people don't know what they're doing, you know what I mean? He said, that's unbelievable what they're doing to you. You'll never beat them. I tried every angle. Jimmy Reed's funeral, I'm sitting beside Zarver. That was him that brought them back and murdered that young boy Chris Donald. That's him that's in the Labour Party now. Zarver, the old man, sitting beside me. Billy Connolly, Ferguson, the football guy, Nicola Sturgeon, Alex Salmon, they're on the front row of the celebrity ones as they called them, right? I wanted to catch Alex Salmon, right? So a journalist came here, blonde, you JD? I said, no, listen, man, I want to catch it. But I'm watching all the time as the funeral's going out. And by her talking to me, I ended up with 20 people in front of me. And when I went out, I wanted to catch him because I knew the whole media was there to expose the cover up. I was just jumping in. I done old Pajero at the time, jumped in and started. I put the window down and I see him come round the corner with his 2 minors. I went, Alex Salmon! He waved away like that, right? And he realised it was me and he scurried away with his head down and I went like, Alex Salmon, do you know what the people meant to these faceless people? It's a total balloon rim, honest to God. Do you know what he done 3 days later? A full page in the paper, he's got the Luger gun, James Bond's body with his head on it, right? Big 2-inch, I've got it lying in one of the cases there, big 2-inch caption, I hired Princess Diana's old minder. He used that for a publicity stunt. Now here a better one, this. I went to Sturgeon's house, right? He put a letter through her door. And I went with the police were searching it, right? And I wrote to her one time at Holyrood because she's been hiding out the road of me all the time, right? And I wrote to her at Holyrood. I said, Mrs. Sturgeon, seen this world where you living like guys like I said and putting killing their own people. You're still living in the Paul Brown and our Wally days. What's there? The Scottish Government, that's what they're still living in. What she done the next week, Raymond? A full page in the Daily Express for a big eagle, sitting in a bucket reading a Beano. There's something up with her head, by the way, I'm telling you. And that's how she laughs and blinks when she's getting interviewed about this money and where all this, the camper van and all the rest, where all this money is. They've got what you call legal privilege, and it shouldn't be allowed. And to me, the legal system's a bunch of crooks. It doesn't matter how much knowledge you've got, but when you're up against a bunch of crooks, you can't beat them. You know what I mean? That Mercer, he pestered me. See when my lassie started coming to gate, Raymond, I said, just go ahead and make that. See, I had an old black Shogun, it was an old 80s model right before that. And I said, look mate, I said, I've got to come and go. I don't want to fall out with the cops here. I've got to come and go in my car. But see my lassie started coming to gate, I said, just go ahead and make that. He had 3 motors Arthur and Clark vans, police vans that he used. The stickers alone were 700 quid, you know, police with the big blue and yellow thing captions, you know. And what happened was I acted myself in the film. That's that gagged one and we reenacted the film. But what he done was he was selling it for £38 a time on the internet. And it's a right professional DVD. In fact, there's a copy here somewhere. But I found out he was selling it for that money and I got it taken off the internet, Raymond, you know. I don't know where it's went to. Take me outside that for you, mate. Got a wee Billy Collins. It's only a black and white band, but at least it's something. Raymond, how do you spell Raymond?
Raymond.
Right. Yeah, Raymond.
Thank you very much, JD. I'll stick that up now.
Don't throw anything away on that. I'm not saying my paintings are going to ever be in that league, you know. Aye. But I got told one sold for £9,000 down in Derby there. I think it was way back last year, one of the antique dealers that travels about in the bars. Like, you come out, Jay, I seen one of your paintings going. I said, I'd never get that kind of money in my life for one. Maybe 900 quid years ago and that, you know. All the ones that were using the films, they've all been bought up. You know, people have just snatched them up. I goes out the side door, right, I'm looking and there's a guy going at that. What kind of weirdo stays in there? I said, this kind of weirdo.
Is there any chance you could maybe show us before I go some of the paintings outside then? And what some of them mean? Maybe some people would like to know that.
Have you not seen the one outside when you come in the door there? The big one I done the side of the building. I'm often conscious of it fucking lights.
Aye.
See, I lost the house in the... See the burns there?
Yep.
I lost the house in a gas explosion. I died twice in the Royal Infirmary. And I was coming down from Thompson's house one day.
Aye.
5 weeks out of the burns unit, there was a middle flat on fire. I ran up and battered door the doors, right? Shows you the type of person I'm all right. And I go to this flat, there's a wee woman about 4 feet. I said, the building's on fire. And she said, I want to get my first cut. I said, the fuck. So I threw her around my shoulder and I took her down. And by the time we got down in the middle flat, I was like old jokes and coughing and splitting, and so was she. And I dumped her onto the street. In the page next, I think it was the Daily Record, one of Peter, who was this big hero? But I never hung about for any fucking thing, mate. Watch that step there, Raymond.
Right.
See this step here, mate?
Yep.
As I say, I wouldn't be destroying my property. Doing all this if I wasn't doing this for nothing, you know what I mean?
Aye. Right, so maybe you can show us this one here then, JD. What's this one about?
It's just about, well, the flames and, see when I was badly burned, I took a bad hemorrhage, and when they came in, they took me out of my sick bed when I was really ill to search the house for something that I had never done. And I'll show you the other ones round here. Just keep that rolling. We'll walk round that way. See, if I wasn't doing this, mate, it would be pure anger with me. I've been asking them to take that tree down for years. See the big tree that's leaning onto the house?
Aye.
I've got 3 squirrels living on the roof. That's a protesting over there, you know. The lion's caught. That's what she should be, by the way, in the jail. That was a Henry Hoover I cut up, see, for the big lion fullest thing there.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll show you this. A few years ago I put a thing up there, a crucifix. Well, you can't see it. It's hanging against that wall there, right? But I put the chief constable on it like that, hanging out, like Salvador Dali. And I was taking back to Rockwell. I come back here with the two dogs. And I seen a police motor here, and 2 police on mountain bikes, right? And what happened was, I went, that's what's up in that. He said, looking at the next thing, police car rammed in here. And he went like, John, he said, Sergeant, he jumped out, he went, James, you'll need to take that down. I went, what? He said, that FSC, the chief constable. I said, listen, it's a protest I've got against you illegally searching my house. If you don't take it down, James, we'll fucking rip it down. That was what it says to me, you know. So I went, I took it down because I didn't want to get the bad side of him, you know.
Yep.
But basically that's it. And that's what they're trying to do, they're trying to robotise people. That's a Ukrainian flag up there. Did you see the one on the side, the Banksy?
This way, aye.
That's the extractor for my central heating there, you know. But that's him with the coat with the big magnifying glass.
Mm-hmm.
See the original Banksy, it's a cock snorting a bit of, you know what I mean? That ball was built. That ball was built with General Wilkes Army. See the bullet holes in the wall there.
Mm-hmm.
See the musket holes.
Yep.
They used to shoot the prisoners here. Don't forget, people nowadays, people at 6'6" and that. But see in their days, in the 17th, 16th century, they're only short. People are only wee. I patch this wall up now and again. The more people that have a look at what's going on here, because a lot of people don't really realise that they've robbed over these bus robbers, no? Plus an eye there. See that when I tell you laugh about this, that stone, that comes after there, right? I was carving this thing years ago, right, this bust, and I'll show you before you go away, right? And I used to use it as a doorstop. This is before I painted it. I was carving away and the neck broke at an angle. So I used it for years in the shop in the West End, in my studio. And this professor came in one day and went, JD! I went, what is that? I was thinking, I fucking miss that. What's that? I says, it's a doorstop. That looks like a bit of early Celtic culture. See, I never told him I'd carved it out myself and that. So he's away. So I've got a thing in the Glasgow newspaper. He's talking about how he thought it was. He was really fucking. Well, I painted it, but see when you looked at the way it was, it did look thingy. That's sort of a big Google eye on it.
That's funny.
That's I might as well show you this while you're here. That's Granger, my dog's graveyard. They dug up my dog's graves, by the way.
Oh, really?
Aye, one of the cops dug up Max Doberman's grave. Granger's in there. There's 11 dogs buried. There's 11 dogs buried here. Princess, that was the last one that's in that farm. She's in there. Princess is in there. And Big Max is in there. And Brutus, and this is the one where the cops dug up. I don't know if you can see it. There's a plaque up there with their names in it. Can you see that, Raymond? Max and Brutus.
Yep, aye.
That's Max and Brutus here and here. Brutus is here. Aye, that's Max and Brutus. That's the one I painted on the page. He was the first one. But the cops actually dug the fucking dog's grave. They must have thought it was another Fred West scenario. And that's the big thing they've done. They're making me out the rat, you know, the artist rat that gets them. But they're yellow to me, the cops are yellow, by the way. That's Nicholas Sturgeon there, the evil. See the devil there? We are supporters. That's what she's done, mate. She's brainwashed the people with this independence. And that's Amy Winehouse there. She's brainwashed the public with this independence. Only to rob the money off the public purse.
Aye. You got a couple of Amy Winehouses there. Is there any connection with that? No? You just like?
Well, the message with Amy Winehouse on the wall is my lassie died with drugs and alcohol because she was on the street.
Yeah.
There's a couple of lasses told. There, that crucifix here. It's all growing in now. It shows you how long ago that was and all, you know.
Aye.
Then I'll show you this, Raymond. That's a traction wheel you get in the big tractors years ago, mind. That is all rotted away in 30 years. Even the spindle, you know the big spindle for the wheel?
Yep.
It's all rotted away with termites have all ate it away, you know. And see all this wasn't here up. This is all grown since I was in here, you know. And that van there, that up is a van I bought. I was going to make it into a coffee stall there for the football. But that never came about. And see that passed a full year at MOT about 3 years ago. When it started the COVID, and it's never turned up. It's not even done half a mile to the garage for a full year, and it's all rotting away with rust. Yeah, you know. I bought it. I was going to get rid of my shotgun here and use that, you know. The squirrels are living in there. See that? If you got maybe about 8 tiles on the right there, see the hole there?
Yep.
Right, there's 3 squirrels in there. That was me all last week, up on the roof painting all that yellow paint and up along here. That's quite high up, seeing you're up there.
What's that as well? Is that like a wee terrace you've got there?
What's that, mate?
Is that like a wee terrace? Can you go up there? No?
No, you can jump out the window into it, but I don't go into it, just sting me, you know.
Be alright, sit and have your coffee up there, you know.
I just usually sit in the yard or the back yard.
Aye.
You know.
Aye.
But basically that's it, mate.
Aye.
What they're doing is gagging me. They'll never beat these people.
I think one thing we didn't cover, because I didn't really want to ask about it, you were talking about your daughter and that.
Well,
did she stay in here before the raid?
Aye. What happened was, my lassies, I stayed with their ma, right? They had a house in the East End and I stayed with. But what happened was, I was working all the time in and out, with different jobs, had one of the businesses running, right? and I didn't have a lot of time, but what happened was she started taking light drugs, and I said, you get after fucking drugs, I'll end up doing you in. I fell out with her, the mother, because she started about with junkies, and we split up, and that was it, you know. And the lasses ended up going one way, and that's it. The whole family just split up. It's basically because of this carry on and all, you know what I mean?
Yep.
At the end of the day, you know. They give people's lives up, and that's it, you know. Like say, my life story, it's people no done the things I've done, man. You've got to get out and about. You only live once. That's the way I look at it, you know. Right, love.
That's right, JD. Good to meet you, mate. Right.
See you later. Mate.
So this is a wee bit of behind the scenes of how this video was made. So when I've watched YouTube videos before, I went like that. How did they get in contact with that person? So I went during the day and tried to go chap JD's door, but he had a big lock on his gate. So I wrote him this letter, and I'm going to go post the letter right now. This has got my number inside, so hopefully he gets back in contact. If he does, then you'll see this in the video. If not, well, this video will never see the light of day. There we go, letter sent, cost me £3. Let's see if he gets it.
He was a category A puzzle. They had